All right, this is the Big Douglas Show. Subscribe, like, pound the notification if you're on YouTube. It is a crossover edition, a season in the making. He is Freddie Ham. She is Maddie Crocker, and together they are HTWeR podcast. Fella, lady, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks so much for having us. Excited to be talking football with you.
I was watching Forrest Gump while waiting for you two. I don't know if you knew this or not, but John Travolta turned down the Gump job.
What?
That would be such a weird. I can't envision John Travolta playing Forrest Gump.
It is one of my favorite things. Will Smith was supposed to be Neo. He turned that job down.
Wow. I'm just John Travolta as Forrest Gump. I'm running across the country. Oh my God.
Not good at all. But yeah, that was it. So
wow. Yeah. I think they got the right guy.
Oh, there's no doubt. And same thing with The Matrix, right? Could you imagine Will Smith as Neo?
No.
Because he turned that job down.
Well, I feel like that one, actually, come to think of it, I think he could pull it off, but.
Molly Ringwald turned down the Pretty in Pink job.
What?
Ooh.
They asked her first. Yeah, she didn't want to be a prostitute in a movie.
Wow.
I'd be anything and anything.
Yeah, she turned down the Pretty Woman job. Yeah.
Wow. That is wild. I didn't know any of these things. All these new things I'm learning.
That's what you're here for.
That's crazy.
Hey.
We were talking about movies a couple of weeks ago on Andy's podcast.
Yeah, they were trying to say that something other than the 90s had the best movies, and I'm not sure I could stand for that.
No. There's a bunch of iconic movies that Maddie Jane has yet to see. She needs to see.
Listen, Freddie, you don't have to put my business out there.
We're here for all
it was already out there. I'm not saying anything that nobody don't already know. Like, I wouldn't do you like that. For real.
What are we talking about here? Like Rear Window Hitchcock hasn't seen it, or like Jurassic Park hasn't seen it?
Well.
Have you ever seen Casablanca, Maddie Jane?
No. Freddie, we don't listen. Okay.
Casablanca's okay. Rear Window is more what's necessary. The Hitchcock stuff from that area. Casablanca's okay.
I'm just thinking in terms of, just iconic films.
Yeah, I've definitely missed a lot of those.
You seen Reservoir Dogs?
Oh goodness.
This will continue.
Yeah. Freddie drove us down the wrong way on a one-way street. Now you're trying to figure your way out. I don't blame you.
Wrong way on a one-way track. Feels like I should be getting somewhere.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we're in the 90s.
Anyway,
well, you missed watching a man get his ear cut off if you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs. So tune in for that. If nothing else.
That does sound interesting. Maybe I'll have to check it out. I don't know.
All right, let's talk a little bit of football while I got you here. First of all, what did y'all think about the Super Bowl? Had you made picks ahead of time? If you had, I don't think I saw them.
I thought I was pretty surprised. I don't think I went on record anywhere to say what I thought, but I definitely thought the Chiefs were going to win. It's of course dumb of me to ever bet against Tom Brady, but I did. I really thought the Chiefs would just do what they do. And so I was pretty surprised just with the simple fact that Patrick Mahomes had no time in the pocket ever. But I know obviously they had they had some problems on the line, and they had some injuries and different things like that. But yeah, I was definitely surprised. Wish there would have been a little bit more of the offensive battle we were hoping for, but just
Patrick Mahomes ran for 497 yards behind the line of scrimmage in that game. That's a fact. Came out yesterday. 497.
That's terrifying.
Good God.
I thought that was a joke. I thought you were
that's true. Hey, you know what's interesting? You know what's interesting about that game, quickly, is that you talked about the line, and that's a fact. when Washington had those problems, they specifically said they were not going to move, like Moses to left tackle and then Sheriff to right tackle, because then you got to fix 4 problems instead of just plugging one. And that is what the Chiefs decided to do. They moved the right tackle over to left tackle, shifted a guard to tackle, and then maybe it wasn't going to make a difference, but you could see what the Washington staff was saying by that.
For sure.
I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to Todd Bowles. The fact that he trusted his line who showed up to play. I mean, one of the big reasons why they had success against these high-powered Chiefs is they were able to rush 4 and get home. I mean,
That's right.
it was amazing. The game plan from the Bucks on both sides of the ball was just superb. What I couldn't believe was that Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't get his first carry until the second half. He didn't get a single touch in the first half, which is just it's utterly nuts to me. And the offense early on, and we said this on our show, just kind of looked out of sorts. Really, just didn't seem. Just something was off. The protection was off, sure, but I mean, Travis Kelce not coming down with the ball he usually comes down with, just I don't know, and it's weird because the Chiefs were the ones in this moment, at least, who had been there before. Obviously Brady's been there before, but I mean, you would think that the team that was just there at the dance and knows what it takes to get it done would have been a little bit better prepared, especially coming from an Andy Reid coach team.
But to your point, Freddie, they got out coached.
Yeah, absolutely.
You haven't said that about Andy Reid in a long time. They got out coached on Sunday. There's no other way around.
They certainly did, and Bruce Arians was just masterful putting his staff together, and we've talked about it. Yeah, it's pretty damn special all the way around. Really, really, really cool.
Arians has said repeatedly the only reason he took that job was because Leftwich was available and said he'd go. On Twitter, they have been playing a game. I thought we'd test it out. Okay, it's something like a draft, trade, and what is the other one?
Draft, trade, sign.
Yeah, there you go. In free agency. So
can we just play cut?
Well, there's going to be a lot of cutting. There's no doubt about that. A lot of cutting. I mean, I guess we could have gone through the free agency list first. There's some that I'll have to keep. We can't do that. You think they're going to give Darby Fuller money? That's what he'll want, right?
I mean, he's earned money, that's for sure. I think he's definitely earned. I hope we re-sign him, but it is like, it's hard. I don't know. It's hard to.
I would assume he wants the Fuller money.
I mean, I think it would be. Freddie's not about it. Fred, I don't know. I mean, but that's what's gonna happen. Like, you have a good season, you're gonna want good money. Like, that's what happens in the NFL. Like, you have to pay up. I mean, I would hope, we all would hope that, they gave him the prove it deal. He proved it. You would hope that they would, he would want to stay here and maybe, but like, I feel like less and less you're hearing about team friendly deals. Like, he's going to go where the money is. And I don't know though. I don't know. I don't think,
I think he's one of 2 that didn't miss a snap on defense this year. Or a man that hadn't gotten paid because he was injury prone. I mean, that's kind of what you signed that 1-year deal for.
Yeah.
Freddie, you hate it?
I don't hate it, but I'm not down with giving him a contract similar to Fuller if that's what he's looking for. I mean, I think he would probably be justified in asking for that, but I mean, and that's the risk that you take as an organization when you sign a player to a 1-year prove it deal. You hope that you get the production out of them because they're playing for that big contract, but then when the time comes, it's like, well, now you gotta pay up. And I don't necessarily like the idea of allocating too much money to our number 2 corner, even though there's people within the fan base who would say, well, no, he's the number 1 corner. I don't believe that. But I mean, I think that you have other options, and I think that we could get good cornerback play from a number 2 guy not named Ronald Darby, and spend less money. So, I'm for bringing him back, but it's got to be for the right price. And if you ask me what the right price is, I'm not the cap guru, and I'm not the guy who's working out his contract numbers. So.
Well, if we assume that it's around 8 to 9 million a year, and you hate that, then I'm curious. You must loathe 15 million for a sheriff then.
Oh, well, I've been outspoken about this. I don't believe that I don't think he's worth it. I know that the market dictates it. I know the all pro thing, all this stuff. I'm not down with it. I'm not down with it at all. He's an interior offensive lineman. I'm not saying that you can just pick up those guys off the street and have success, but I am
because the
saying
Colts are getting ready to give Quentin Nelson 15 million a year with no problem. They're going to stroke that check happily.
I just
Resign Brandon Sheriff. Resign Brandon Sheriff. Come on.
yeah,
It has been amazing the amount of
No.
people I've talked to this year that have switched their opinions, me included, from week 1 to now, from the no way, no how to just got to. You need more blue chip players on the team. Brandon Sheriff, when healthy, is a blue chip player under 30.
And bottom line, this is something I love that is kind of
he's been inconsistent even when he has been healthy.
But listen, he also, when he's like, he knows he's a free agent now. After the last game of the season, they're asking him, he's not saying, you know what, he's like, I want to be in Washington. I love it here. I love Coach. I want to be here. Like, not only is he a great player, but he wants to be here. And I'm sorry, there's something to be said about that as well. Like, I love that. And he's good enough where you pay him the money. Like, come on. Like, yeah, this year may not have been his best year, even though this is the year he's all pro. Listen, I'm not mad at it. But, like, I think you sign him. Like, I think he's one of those guys you want on your team. But
Freddie's just so disgusted by the whole thing.
Freddie doesn't want to pay anybody.
That is not true. That is not true.
Neither does the owner, but unfortunately, that's how you get players. You pay them.
I'm just not. I don't want to dedicate that much cap to Sheriff. I just don't.
Well, of course, that's why you're trying to find a quarterback on a rookie deal, right? Because then you can afford to pay and 2 quarters and
I hate the idea of having $15 million against the cap going to your right guard. I'm sorry. I really, really struggle with that.
No, I'm with you. Gruden somewhere agrees with you. Let's see what else we got here on this team for next year. They'll most certainly, I think, re-sign the outside linebacker, Kevin Pierre-Louis. I think they like what he did. Couldn't talk enough about him.
I like him
too.
Re-sign
him, right? And that he probably doesn't cost a fortune.
No, for sure.
Cam Sims.
Maddie Jane, you want to take this one? Because he was your boy for a while.
He was everybody's boy.
Everybody come at Maddie Jane with the wide receiver questions. She is the wide receiver whisperer.
I wouldn't say all that. I love a good receiver. Cam, but we all know it. Cam is so up and down. Like, he'll have one game where you're like, he's clutch, he can make all the catches. And then he'll drop one, like maybe even the same game next play, and you're like, what? Like, what are you doing? So I think you can get him. I don't think there's going to be other teams clamoring for him. Like, maybe I'm wrong. I think you can bring him back for the cheap. And if you do, yeah, let him come back and compete. Because I think he did enough to prove that, like, he's worth a deal on the cheap. But if he's looking for, any...
I can't imagine he's looking for too much. I don't think they're going to bring him back anyway. I think he had a tryout year, and the fact that they're looking just as hard at wide receiver every year as they are at quarterback makes you, know everything you need to know about that, I'd say.
That's true.
I think regardless of the money, I just think they'll want to give that spot to someone else who has a higher ceiling, has more talent, has more potential. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the other Sims, I think, is the bigger disappointment. I had expected huge things from him this year, as with many others, and I don't know what happened to him.
That's really sad because he really, I mean, his rookie season, it was really like, wow, like I think like it looked like a gem type
He
of
was one of the bright spots, one of the few
Yeah,
bright spots we had. We
that's
were
right.
talking about, I mean, people were talking about how it was going to be McLaurin, Sims, and whoever they get in that number 2 spot. And like Sims was going to be the slot guy, was going to hold it down, was going
They
to,
had planned on Kelvin Harmon.
yeah. And I like Kelvin Harmon. I'll tell you something too. Don't sleep on Kelvin Harmon coming back from this injury either.
Oh, I agree. Definitely. Because he's a hand guy. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like the ACL is crushing whatever speed he had because he
No,
wasn't
he's
winning with speed anyway.
I feel like Kelvin Harmon's in that mold of like a to reference somebody that fans are familiar with here in Washington, like a Pierre Garcon kind of guy.
But yeah, that's fair. I like that. I like that a bunch.
Maybe not quite as angry. That's what I loved about Pierre, man. Pierre just played angry.
Yeah.
You
We're
know?
familiar with Harmon down here in North Carolina, and he plays angry too.
Does he?
Yeah, I mean, they raved
I like
about him.
that.
Down here in Carolina, they raved about two things. It's him, and it's the kid that we drafted last year from NC State. He's got a life for me. He's got a hyphenated last name, Smith Williams.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
He's one of
he's
these
the
freakos height, weight, speed guys that they're really excited about. He was playing in the wrong position down here and injured a bunch.
yeah.
They're really excited about that guy.
Every
Which
time I hear
brings me-
his
Go ahead.
every time I hear his name, it throws me off.
Yeah,
There's a pretty prominent group of funeral homes in this area called Smith and Williams.
where are you at, Freddie?
Virginia Beach,
Okay.
757, Southeastern
yeah.
Virginia.
No,
Yeah.
my dad was in the Navy.
best Virginia.
I'm a Kempsville guy.
The only part of Virginia that matters, really.
okay.
Don't say
Anyway.
that to the Nova folk
Yeah.
or the Richmond crew.
Yeah, it's all about the 804.
The Richmond crew. Yeah. What about that Richmond crew?
Listen.
I had a roommate in college whose brother lived in a stone down there in Richmond. I went to a VCU Halloween party one time.
Mm-hmm.
Scars. You ever heard of SCAR?
Mm-hmm.
Weirdest damn thing I've ever been to. Skinheads against racism.
What?
Yeah, that's right. In
You
Richmond,
said
we went to this Halloween party. It was like all these wacko, crazy folk. And I was like, I think y'all brought me to the wrong party. And they were like, nah, this is the SCAR party. I was like, what the hell is the SCAR party? Skinheads against racism. Nice folk,
but
real strange, but
how do you have?
That's good.
That's like. Oh,
Listen,
okay.
dog,
All right. Yeah.
Don't ask too many
Hey,
questions.
listen, you don't ask questions at the SCAR party. You just
Okay.
say,
What
"Thanks
happens
for
at the
drink-
SCAR
thanks for
party
drink
stays
and
at the
y'all-
SCAR
and
party.
the drinks were free, you know.
Yo,
But,
VCU, yeah, they can throw a good party up there. I have some friends who went to VCU, so
Earlier in the season, I had planned on having a conversation with y'all about D tackles. There is no way to keep them all. That's why I'm always suggesting a trade that involves one. So then that means let's play the odd man out game, right? We've got Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Ioannidis, Tim Settle, and really they were playing my guy Smith Williams at D tackle a bunch this year. So you can't pay big money to three of those. Who goes?
Maddie Jane, you want to take it?
No, you go first.
I knew you were going to
My heart
defer.
is this.
I knew you were going to defer your choice to the
Well,
second
everybody's
half.
got answers, so
All right.
don't worry.
So yeah, the odd man out, who's the one that I think the one that you don't pay, and my opinion has changed on this because it used to be John Allen because John Allen is my guy. But John Allen's also a leader. He's a Ron Rivera guy. He really, really fits in that mold. You kind of have a really similar skill set in Allen and Payne. mean, I do think that Payne is. I think that Payne is a little more talented than Jonathan Allen, but I think you're going to get similar levels of production out of both. And I think ultimately you're going to get more for Payne because he's younger, his stats are better. So I would say Payne would be the odd man out. I'd say you sign Jonathan Allen to a long-term deal. He is your staple at D tackle, and then you just get guys alongside him. I mean, I'd feel really, really good with John Allen and Matt Ioannidis, who's our best interior rusher, and then you have Settle in that rotation. I mean, those three guys, and you have Smith Williams to that, or whoever else you might bring in. And I really don't think that the defensive line really misses a beat that much. And then if you can get something for, like I said, if you can get return for Payne, because as you said, we can't keep them all. And we've just seen it happen time and time again where player after player, they just run through their deal and then they're gone and we have nothing to show for it. We just have nothing to show for it. Preston Smith's a good example of that.
Yeah, I think I would much rather see, as crazy as it kind of seems, I would much rather us trade one away in like getting, in a deal of getting a quarterback that could possibly be our future. Or something like that, like maybe like a Deshaun Watson if he would get traded or something like that.
We can
But
get there.
I think that there's a little part of me that thinks that Jonathan Allen would take a deal that would be somewhat team friendly. There's a little part of me that thinks he would do that. I don't know if that's true or
I
not.
agree. No, I agree.
I think there's a part of me, but still, if one has to go, I do think oh, I hate it. I hate it. But I don't know. I would probably go with Payne as well. But again, I would almost rather it be like in a trade situation where, you just know that you have to give up one of these guys because I hate the thought of losing any of them, but I think I would do the same thing.
Particularly when you got to pay the two ends. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of money on that D line. Now, I gotta say, I've always been the Deron Payne guy. I think he comes to Warren Sapp. I think he hadn't even got close to hitting his potential. But I will say this, Freddie, you said something I hadn't really thought about. If you're going to get best bang on your buck in a return, it is by trading Deron Payne.
The other thing that I was thinking of, and Maddie kind of alluded to it a little bit with the team friendly deal, but with those stats and everything else, I think Payne is going to command way more money when it comes time than Jonathan Allen. And you can even look at the draft position too. We drafted Jonathan Allen at 15. We drafted Payne at 5. And he's the younger guy.
I think Payne was
So
12 or 13 or something.
what was that?
I think Payne was like 12 or 13 or something. Well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's the Payne year, because that was either Vita Vea. It was interesting. It was either Vita
It's
Vea or
Vita
Payne.
Vea.
Could have been.
I'm looking it up.
Either way, I mean, they're gonna the number shouldn't be that much different. Although I think you guys are fooling yourself to think that Jonathan Allen is going to take a team friendly deal because he seems like a nice guy.
I just think it'll be less
I'm not
money
sure
though,
that's-
regardless of, you talk about the team friendly thing, but I just think it's going to be cheaper to get him extended than it's going to be Payne.
Well, if nothing more, then you get to extend Jonathan Allen a year earlier,
Yeah.
just therefore, just by nature of the salary cap, you won't have to pay as much because the next year everything.
Yeah, Payne was drafted at 13. Allen, I believe, was drafted at
18, I think.
17, maybe.
Because they had talked about moving.
Yeah.
They were going to move back up in that draft to take Foster.
Right.
They hadn't expected Allen to fall that far. Remember, there was something wrong with the shoulder,
Yep.
Right.
Shoulder thing, and
Yeah.
then that was the year Foster fell. And San Francisco, the only reason they got that was because they had a higher third-round draft pick or whatever it was that year that they were able to offer.
Right.
Washington was going to do that. Maddie, you had mentioned Deshaun Watson. How many draft picks are you throwing at that deal? All of them. You're giving up all. You can only give up 3. You can give up a 4th in the future. You can give up 4 if you've got 2.
Honestly, I would probably give up 3. I mean, I know that's a lot. I know. But like I just am so in love with the idea of Deshaun Watson coming here and what he could do and what he could bring, and the fact that he's so young. Like, it's just like one of those guys, like if you had any opportunity
So
and
real quick, and I'll let you finish it. But we got to clarify, it won't be 3 1s, right? They want 3 1s, 2 2s, and at least one young starter, maybe 2 young starters. So 3 1s is a fairy tale.
yeah, so even that though, even that, I don't know. I would give up a lot for Deshaun Watson. Like, I would give up a lot cuz again, if he just comes in and if he continues to be, I think I've said it before, but if he comes in and he continues to be what he's been in Houston, you're not looking back on that stuff and like, man, we gave up too much. I just don't think you are. I mean, maybe if you can't get anyone else, but I think you can. I think if you get Deshaun Watson early enough, there will be plenty of people in free agency. There will be plenty of, you'll get guys wanting to come here if you have Deshaun Watson under center. So I think I would do it. I know it sounds crazy, but I just am so all about Watson that like, what, I mean, I would do it. I would do it. I think Freddie
Ready?
would too.
Would I be willing to give up in draft capital for Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 firsts, a second.
We could move on the conversation. So Freddie's out then. Freddie is out on Deshaun Watson because there's no way. I mean, there's no way they're taking 2 1s.
I'm just gonna say 2. I would give 2 firsts, a second, maybe 2 1s and 2 2s, and then a starter on defense, and I wouldn't give up more than that.
Yeah. So then you're out then because there's I don't know 28 teams in the league right now calling in on Deshaun Watson, offering as many picks as they can give. Because to Maddie's point,
we're
if
not
you
gonna be
had
able to
Deshaun
put
Watson-
together. I mean, and we can't put together a package the way that some of these other teams can. There's no way.
We could try.
No, he's got a no trade clause. So you're just hoping that the organization's done enough to warrant getting him to come here.
Sure.
So are any of the other quarterbacks piquing your interest? You in on David Carr? Let's do a quick.
You mean
just yes or
Derek?
no, real.
You mean
Let's do a
Derek?
quick
Put some
yes or no.
respect on Derek's name. He is
Derek
not his
Carr.
brother who watched out in Houston.
Oh, David Carr. Yeah.
It's Derek.
I mean, I would.
Did I say David?
I'd be willing to take a fly. I think I would. I wouldn't mind Derek Carr. Most of any of the other guys, it's like would I give up a whole lot for him? Probably not. But I wouldn't. Like, I would be okay. I think Derek Carr is right on the line. Like, I do think absolutely think he's better than what we have. But it's like, is he like? I don't know that he's all the way up here. I don't know. But I wouldn't hate it. Again, if it was like a lot, if they gave up a lot for him, I'd be like.
I'm guessing they want 19 for Carr.
Oh, I don't know.
You'd have to. I mean, it's.
You're trading a second. Are you trading a second for Mariota?
No.
I mean, listen.
No. Hell no.
Listen, Mariota, like, with his mobility and we don't, like, I really subscribe to the theory that we don't need necessarily an elite quarterback here. We just need one that's good enough, that's mobile, that can do what needs to be done in this offense. It's possible that Mariota could do something good here. Like, it's possible.
Sam Darnold for the 19th pick?
I don't hate the idea of Darnold either, just because I do think there's possibility, and he's young, but I don't know that I can do 19. I don't know. These are hard questions because I mean,
not to Freddie. He's
yeah, Freddie
violently ill at the bottom of the screen.
I just think that there's like, after watching Darnold more, I really do think it's possible that like he's better than what we've seen with him at the Jets. We don't know for sure, but like
I'd give a 7th for Darnold.
Get out of here.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
I'm not feeling Garoppolo.
No.
Something about it. I wouldn't.
No.
Matt Ryan.
No. Hell no. Hell no.
I don't know.
Oh, God, no.
Jameis Winston.
Trade Jameis Winston for.
Have to trade. He's going to hit the market.
I was just saying, I was saying we'll pay him in crab legs.
Okay, so that's a no.
No.
Yeah, I don't know about Jameis. I don't know.
Are you
There,
interested in trading up to say 7? Reports are they are in love with Justin Fields and his leadership qualities, and they would be looking to trade up to 7.
so we talked about Matty Jane. We talked about this whole, yes, Justin Fields and his leadership and the type of person that we need at the helm. Who would be we would be willing to trade up for? I'm much more in favor of trading up in the first round and drafting our future. And if that's Justin Fields, I'm on board with that. He's not my guy, but I don't necessarily think my guy would be there at 7. So
Which one? Okay. I think I'd be down with Justin Fields, Trey Lance.
you
I
think
think we
Trey
both,
Lance is going to be there at 7?
One of
possibly.
the two of them will.
Yeah.
I mean, just by the numbers, I think.
Yeah. And I mean,
But who would you rather have, though?
Well, I personally have a love-hate relationship with Justin Fields because I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan, but I'll let him go and wish him well on the team.
I want to know, Doug, if you have the chance, if you're right there, if both of them are available, which one you going with?
I know more about Fields. Trey Lance scares me. He had a 1-game audition this year. But I will say this, I love quarterbacks that play baseball. And
You see,
and seriously, that is a trait that I personally look for in evaluating quarterbacks. I just do. So that it makes the gap. To me, Fields would blow him away if it wasn't for the fact that he was a premier baseball player. And I think there's something to that.
odd throwing angles, all that kind of stuff.
All of it.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, and you can't teach that stuff. My whole thing, what I've been talking about is just and I understand why Trey Lance would scare you. I like to be scared sometimes.
Not at the quarterback
I don't want to
position.
be scared
Let's.
back
No,
anymore. I'm tired.
That's right. That's
the
right.
thing is,
That's right, Maddie.
I just feel like he has the opportunity to. I mean, he could go bust, but you could say that about everybody. But I think he could be something really, really special. And I think when you have the opportunity to draft that, you do it.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line is, I would be fine with Fields or Lance if they traded up for either of those.
Pick one.
We've talked about it. I think
You got a choice of 2. Pick one.
I think Freddie would pick Lance. I think I would probably pick Fields.
Thank you.
Excellent. I love that.
I've been waiting. I've been trying to drag that answer out of Matty Jane for a week, Doug.
I'm here to help.
Thank you.
No problem. What are we going to do with Landon Collins?
Oh, man. And that was, hey, there was nobody in Red Washington Football Nation that was more excited for Landon Collins than Matty Jane. I mean, I was excited too, but like she did her. This is pre HTWeR. She did her own podcast dedicated to it.
I cried when it happened because I was watching as I think it was who was it Josina like Anderson, whoever it was, and she was on ESPN or whatever.
Yeah.
She goes away, she comes back, she's like Landon Collins to Washington, and I was like, and I screamed. I was, but. And we'll also say there's no the head of the Cam Curl fan club is Freddie, so we'll say that as well. Okay, which fair enough. Cam Curl, come on. I don't know what the heck. I think because I don't think you trade Landon Collins. I don't think anybody's gonna want that contract. So I don't think you can trade. So I have no idea what you do with him. That is
and we got dead money. Like that's not an option.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I wish that does he want to do anything other than be the strong? I don't feel like he's
no. In fact, that's come up, and they've actually asked him about moving the linebacker in his position on that, and he's always said I'm a safety. But maybe since he's already been paid, and he's not going anywhere. But I was mentioning this to somebody on Twitter. I can't remember who now. I wonder if they just have him flip positions, right? And because I need to get the numbers, but I would assume that they were in that big dime 3 safety formation a lot last season. And so I imagine they probably just switch them and use Landon in that big dime money back situation, because you're right, nobody's taking the contract. And frankly, I don't know if he's, just asking. I think we assume you can just switch to outside linebacker and be fine. I'm not necessarily sure that's how it works.
I don't think it's that simple.
And Freddie's still like the co-president, because I was on Cam Curl since like week 4.
Oh,
I talked about Cam Curl the day after the draft.
yeah, but you didn't talk good about him.
That wasn't me. That was Adam.
Listen,
It wasn't me.
bottom line is now everybody's in the fan club because Cam Curl.
They was hating on Cam Curl. It wasn't me.
Yes, and now you've got to package Cam in part of your Houston deal, Maddie.
I'm sorry, Freddie was. I'd probably do it. I love Cam Curl. I love him. But Deshaun Watson, you have a chance to bring him to DC. There's not many players that I'm like, nah. Like, I probably would be like, I'm listening.
There's two.
You would let Cam Curl go?
There are
Matty
two
Jane?
players on the roster that can't be a part of a trade package for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, we all know who they are.
Maybe one, and I feel bad saying that. Maybe there's only one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love Cam Curl. I would hate that. But Deshaun Watson, like, that's all. Deshaun Watson. Freddie, if you're not willing to give up Cam Curl for Deshaun Watson, come on. Are you really not? For Deshaun Watson.
I said on our own show that if it was a deal breaker, if it's signed, sealed, delivered, okay, we can get Deshaun and we have to give up Curl, that's it, then I would do it. Like, if it came down to it, yes. But I feel like anything short of giving up Chase Young, which that's the guy we've all been thinking, right? He is the true one that's
right.
off limits, period, right? And I'm pretty sure that the second guy is Terry McLaurin. I don't know where Doug was going with that, but I'm thinking the second guy is Terry McLaurin.
Yes.
Yeah. But
and I could think long and hard depending on what I didn't have to give up.
Yeah, I would rather give up. I would rather give up somebody else.
That, but I'm just like, I just feel like,
especially with where we have depth,
because thought that Chase Young was the most exciting defensive player in the last decade to come out of college.
We've said this before, and I don't. It's really, really sensitive with this fan base. But I mean, Maddie Jane and I have talked about. You know where I'm going with this, Doug. But it's true. We haven't had someone with this type of special talent with what he can do since Sean. There hasn't been anyone on this team. There have been few players in the league at all that I have seen since the time that Sean played that I've thought to myself, they're special in the way that Sean was. There's been very, very few, and there's been none on this team. And Chase is in that mold.
Now, and I don't know if he's still there. At some point, he was the NFL Twitter's header. I mean, the league, players and staff and coaches and fans, the whole thing.
He's become that dude now. Like, Maddie Jane, you remember when we were kids and people were giving us all kinds of crap, but we could always say, yeah, but we got Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
And Sean Taylor was always the dude. Even the people who hated on the team, like, yeah, Sean Taylor, he's that dude. Like, they still give him respect. Chase Young has already become that dude. There's people who want to hate on the team, blah, 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 but say, oh, yeah, Chase Young, he's for real. Right.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Amazing.
All the little,
Guys,
the young kids who are Washington football fans, they can hang their hat on Chase Young.
And they do. I didn't look at the most recent jersey sales, but I would have to assume that one, he blows out our team and got to be in the top 5 of the league.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know that, but I would be willing to bet it for sure.
Sure.
What's the off-season schedule look like for the podcast for you guys?
So we took a little break right when our season ended, and then we've been back. We've been on our regular schedule the last 2 weeks. Normally, we put out an episode every Tuesday. Sometimes it doesn't come out until Wednesday, but that's usually what it is. And we only put out one episode a week. Every once in a while, we'll put out a bonus episode. When we do that, usually drops on Thursday, Friday, sometimes a Saturday, just depending. We have, so like I said, we're pretty much back on our regular schedule. We should have another episode out next week, next Tuesday, right on time. And then we'll probably, depending on what happens, if there are any like big moves made, and with there not being a combine and all that, things kind of die down a little bit. So we'll probably
I
take
hate that. I'm a
another,
combine junkie.
yeah, we'll probably take another 2-week hiatus, and then come back and hit it with the regular content. It really will start ramping back up when it gets closer to the draft. But as of right now, I mean, we'll definitely have an episode out next week, and then after that, it'll probably be a couple weeks off for us. And then obviously when we get back into the full swing of things, once we get to the summertime and training camp and all of that, and then when we're in the regular season, obviously it's every week. So, but we have some really, really, really big things planned very soon, don't we, Maddie Jane?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I'm very excited now. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on today. This was a lot of fun. It took too long. Let's not make it be that long for the next time.
Absolutely.
It's all good, man. It's your show, Doug.
Hey, it is my show.
We got to get you on our show, bro.
Hey, I've been waiting, y'all. It told me you were going to have me on a couple weeks ago. I was all disappointed. I was going to pump up my man, Deron Payne.
We'll get you on. Don't worry.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.